Hey there, welcome to episode 2026-05-2201 of the Coffee Solo audio program. I still haven't decided how I want to read that off. With the other programs, they're just episode numbers. So welcome to episode 136, 129, whatever. But we are doing DNS serial number formatting, year, month, day, and then a 2-digit integer. But to keep it simple, today is Friday, May 22nd. We're recording this program at 10:32 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in Greater Vegas. For as long as Pacific Daylight Time it continues to exist, maybe it'll just be Pacific Time soon enough. I don't really care either way. And that makes it 2026-05 for May, 22 for the date, 22nd, 01, first show of the day. And since it is 10:32, there won't be a 2. I've done a second show a couple of times. I got to start doing that more often. I did intend to record this program either Wednesday night or Thursday night or Friday morning. It is now Friday night. So I could have done a 0102. That's the way it is. I will point out, apparently tonight is a nice night for people to go driving. I record from home. I do live very near a street, which means there will be cars going by every once in a while. I normally say production by a street. It can seem loud to me. I do have a cardioid microphone that is pretty good at rejecting noise, but some noise, because of the way audio works, some noise really carries and resonates. And I think you might be able to hear that. You might be able to hear that a vehicle that just went by. Before I start recording, I normally do a 10-second lead that captures ambient noise, and then I use that as a kind of a noise filter. Takes out the humming or buzzing, or actually it sounds more like a white noise type thing. Kind of a which you probably won't hear. I always have to remember that. I sometimes will make a noise or I'll pause, and then I remember that those get filtered out, so bear with me. Anyway, so I started recording, had the 10 seconds going. A motorcycle, sounded like a dirt bike, cruised by. It is dark. It's nighttime. So the air temperature a little bit cooler, which means certain sounds will carry. So it was very loud. I could see it on the VU meter that it would be audible. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just start over. So I stopped, killed the track, restarted. We're about 5 seconds in. I can see, you can still hear this motorcycle. It's got to be a mile away by now, almost, maybe half a mile. I don't know, but you could hear it quite clearly. And I was like, this is annoying. So it took me 3 tries to get started. But you can totally hear some of these sounds. And I'll tell you another sound that you'll hear. I set the thermostat at my overnight 79 degrees Fahrenheit, normal, usual. But the air conditioner might come on. So when the air conditioner comes on, I'm not going to turn it off. I normally do, but I'm like, all right, I'll put it at 79. If it does come on, then you'll hear it, and I will make a comment. Normally, I'll pause recording. I'll go over and turn it off. I have to wait a few seconds, and then it will cycle off. And then I continue, and then I turn it on later. But we'll see what happens in the next short while. Nobody's ever seen anything like this before. I love that expression. It's an absolute lie most of the time, but still. So yeah, another Star Wars movie, the title of today's episode. That will be the first thing we talk about. This stuff right now doesn't count. Hopefully wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description. So maybe you found it on Ko-fi.com, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. I don't think anybody listens on YouTube, but I will tell you, YouTube is, I publish all my stuff to YouTube for one main reason, which is they auto-generate the transcript, so that it's like a moral imperative. Like I want to keep accessibility in mind. So that's not a great thing. That's not a great way to have transcripts generated, but it is cost effective. I have a cup of coffee going right now. So yeah, I publish to YouTube. I've also discovered, I think I've talked about this before, when you have YouTube subscribe to an RSS feed for your podcast, whatever kind, I wish they would call them The iPods aren't even really a thing anymore. They should rename it. Adam Curry and Steve Jobs. Assholes. Anyway, so I try to keep it clean. I will continue to do so with a dalliance now and then. The YouTube will subscribe to the RSS feed. So when I publish to Spotify for Creators, it publishes the episode on Spotify. It creates the RSS feed with an entry and an enclosure pointing to the audio file. YouTube goes and pulls that. I think they copy it because they create a video, a single frame video to publish as a YouTube item. And all of my settings are, mark it public. People can download it, view it, whatever. And then sometime over the course of hours, even a day, even multiple times, even though it's set to public, so it's visible in my feed, in my, on my channel, YouTube will automatically mark it to private for no reason. I've checked on Reddit. It's a known problem. Now it's been like, I don't know if people are still talking about it. When I checked a couple of months ago, it was a problem for at least 6 months, maybe closer to a year. Basically not to be fixed. Hey, it's working like it's supposed to. We're YouTube. Don't bother us. So yeah, not gonna be fixed. So I was literally, before we started recording this, we being me and other me, before we started recording it, oh, by the way, my voice, I'll talk about that in a second. So there's somebody wrote a YouTube command line tool, which I'm like, that's interesting. I was going to write something using Playwright, which is a website automation tool for testing or whatever. I wanted to do that because dealing with the YouTube or Google APIs in general is kind of a pain. And I wanted to I just need to do three things, I guess. I need to check if it's private. If any, you can filter. So like filter current content in the YouTube studio for the podcast. If there are any private, mark them public. Then go to the podcast section, to the details for the podcast, change the sort order to by date added, newest first, save, then change it back to order by published, newest first, save. That's it. So do I want to go get API keys and all that, or can I just use Playwright, log in automatically, get it done, and then that's it? So I've been on the fence with that, and I've been on the fence, so that means I haven't done it, which is annoying. If it was happening multiple times per day per feed, because I do have, 5? Well, with this one, I have 6 feeds, although this one gets merged in with Buy Me an Update. So Coffee Solo and Buy Me an Update are in a single feed for Dan Hugo, just Dan Hugo. Anyway, too much detail. If it was happening like constantly, then I would want a really robust solution, because this is a super big pain. And if I do add more shows, I should just not have to worry about this. It should just always be taken care of by some code that I can write. That's not the problem at all. It's just a question of it doesn't happen that often. So while I absolutely should solve this problem, it is totally solvable, but I have not prioritized it. I did an episode of Buy Me an Update 2 weeks ago because I was ready to publish new website content and whatnot for all the channels. I'm like, hey, finally. But I did not finish the final touches of layout to make it look, and then all the tailwind stuff I'm changing. Well, actually, those are tailwind already. But in general, I want to get away from Bootstrap and move to either tailwind or classless. I think that's what it's called. Semantic CSS, I think it is. So tailwind is like my experimental, let me try this. It's kind of the thing. Because everyone's using it, that's probably a good reason to not get stuck with it. But I do want to become familiar with how it works. I gotta, hang on a second, I want to pause. Yeah, so the to-do list always gets in the way. It screws me up. Then I get tired. The allergy season is upon us. You can hear my voice. Today was just all over the place. In the morning, Friday morning, I was like, oh, maybe I'm post-allergy season. But no. So I have not done the nasal fresh today. I've not done it yesterday. I should have done it yesterday, but it seemed like, oh, maybe there's a break in the clouds. No. So I had to get back on that. So my voice sounds a little bit more scratchy. It's the way it is. Anyway, another Star Wars movie. Hopefully, yeah, you found the summary. I saw Star Wars when it came out in 1977, which is true. It was called Star Wars. That's it. And it was amazing. Everybody loved it. It was like groundbreaking, world changing. I have no idea what is going on with the modern times in that regard. I don't know what Star Wars is anymore. And some other stuff today. So when we saw Star Wars, my dad took me and I'm not sure. I think my sister might have gone also. So I think it was the three of us. I remember we visited my mom at a deli. We were in New Jersey somewhere called Wolfie's for lunch. She was at work. I think she was working at Stearns at the time, department store in a mall type thing. These were the early days. Now she has an empire, but that way back then, early days. So I think we went and had lunch in a deli. That was one of our usual spots. And then the three of us went to a movie when she went back to work. My mom is not a Star Wars person, not really a Star Trek person, so everything was fine. So we went and saw Star Wars. And then when I went back to school, next day or whatever, I assume it was the weekend. So we didn't go on opening day, but I think it was the weekend. Saw the movie. My dad is a Star Wars, Star Trek, sci-fi nerd. So there you go. So we went and saw the movie. Probably Monday, right? Go back to school. There was always the morning, like playground circle where everybody would just talk about, oh, what movies did you see this week? Or what'd you do? What cool? So did you get the newest this or whatever? So it was just a little huddle over what's going on, what's up. So of course everybody saw Star Wars, and that was the thing. Like when the movie Airplane came out, everybody was pulling it. Oh, remember with the fan and the thing? Yeah. So we were like 6 years old, but that's the thing. I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater. I saw Return of the Jedi. Much later here in Vegas, I saw Rogue One. I don't remember if I saw the prequels in a theater. Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I didn't see any of the sequel trilogy in a theater. I have not watched any of I don't even know what's going on with Grogu and the whatever, Andor. I don't know. So I do know that I started at some point watching, not really intently, but it was just so bizarrely entertaining and weird and also disappointing to me. And then it was, pandemic times, right? So why not just watch whatever? What's his name? Gary Beekler, Nerdrotic, comic books, sci-fi movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, everything. Him and his compatriots, they became the fandom menace, as in the Phantom Menace, but fandom menace. They just turned into judgmental children, and that was just off-putting. So I've become less and less involved with like being a fan of something. And plus, everything is disappointing now. The reboots in general are a mess, whether it's Star Wars or Alien. I did enjoy, what was it called? 2049, Blade Runner 2049. I thought that was really well done. So good. I think the nature of the book, Electric Sheep, right? Is it a book or a short story? I think it's a short story. The nature of that, and then just there's something about that movie where having another episode so long after was actually kind of interesting. So much had changed and everything. So I guess that had a better feel to it. I don't know if it was just a cash grab. The Star Wars stuff just feels like, hey, we can just print money and we can print more money. Just make sure Gary Beekler isn't around. So I personally, like if there was a Shining a sequel, Doctor Sleep, was it? I didn't really watch that. I enjoyed Shining. I enjoyed 2001. I enjoyed 2010. Not as good. I enjoyed Predator. I enjoyed Predator 2. I wouldn't say not as good. Different movie. Similar characters, similar story. So appropriately, different characters, different kind of movie. Same sort of platform, I guess. So I enjoyed Predator 2. I actually enjoyed Alien versus Predator, a little bit. The first one. I thought it was interesting. The tie-in with Lance Hendrickson being whatever his name, whatever Whalen, and then also being the doctor or professor or whatever he was from Weyland-Yutani for Alien 3. And was that what they made Bishop from? So all that was kind of tricky. But I did enjoy Alien vs. Predator. Now, other Predators, The Predator, Predators, whatever, not so much. Alien vs. Predator, Requiem, all those other things, not so much. What was the one with Adrian Brody? Was that Predators? And then the one with, I can't remember her name from, I can't remember her name. Anyway, I only like Predator 1, Predator 2, Predator 2, except I thought Prey was actually quite well done. I think they maybe pushed it a little bit. They skirted disaster barely, but maybe not even barely. Maybe they actually did step in something with the what do you call that? A flintlock, a gun, a firearm from the 1700s. The one that eventually finds its way to Murtaugh in Predator 2. So why was it in the movie, and why is it not in the possession of a predator? Yeah, so that's one of those things. There are people who don't do continuity. A lot of them write movies, but what's his name? Steve Scheib, I think it is. He has a Star Trek channel, so a fan channel. He comments on old episodes and new movies, and he's like, I don't care about continuity. Just make the movie. Make it good, make it entertaining. Don't care. Don't need to retcon. Don't care. Just make a good movie. So he kind of looks at them in isolation. But on the other hand, he also creates commentary on old episodes and whatnot. So on the one hand, he seems to care about it. On the other hand, he doesn't get wound up by it. So I guess that's okay. Other people like Rob Burnett, the Burnett work, he's a fan. He's not like Gary Buechler, but he gets bent out of shape because of the new Star Trek, which I also am not really into. So I watched the third season of Picard. Everybody thought that was like, okay, now finally we're getting the stuff we love back. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So yeah, these new movies, the Alien series, Alien Earth, garbage, absolute garbage. Timothy Olyphant, excellent actor. I don't know what he was thinking. But I like Timothy. I would rather watch, what's his, Justified. Thank you. I have a giant database in my head of everything that I remember, and the queries are running slow tonight. Yeah, Justified was an excellent show. Obviously, I mean, this goes without saying. Deadwood, amazing, right? Every aspect of that show was pretty much 100%. I should find that show. I don't have HBO. I'm trying to avoid that stuff. In fact, I actually have Apple TV and Paramount right now, so I could watch particular things. But now I'm like, okay, I saw Severance 1 and 2. I saw Pluribus. I saw Shrinking, which, by the way, probably... Now, this is unfair because there are other good things like... what was the movie where Harrison Ford is he's been accused of killing... I'm totally spacing on it. And Bonnie Bedelia is his wife. And there's a hammer with some blood at the end. I can't remember that movie. I thought he was really good in that. I think he was really good in the Tom Clancy movies, both of them. Was it both of them? It was he in two? Anyway, I think he was in one with Brad Pitt and one with, I think there was another one. Anyway, Harrison Ford is a good actor. He's a little full of himself from the Star Wars days, but I think that's more of an act. I think he's just trying to be a curmudgeon, maybe. But I think he really did a good job in Shrinking. So anyway, so I have Apple TV and I have Paramount and, of course, Amazon Prime. I even have Hulu because I tried to cancel and they're like, hey, do you want to keep it for a few more months for $2, $2.99 maybe? I was like, yeah, I really want to watch the series Justified one more time and then be gone, Hulu, Disney, or whatever. I have not done that. And I think my promotional whatever is coming to an end this month. But I'll tell you what I did when they announced their price increase. I suspended my account because I figured, who knows what's going to happen? And we'll see. I'll suspend it. Now, when I went to cancel it, because they turned it back on after whatever, 6 months. Hey, you're about to be billed. You're back. Welcome back to Hulu. I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay whatever it was, $15 a month or whatever, crazy, with commercials. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. Cancel it. No, wait, $3 a month. So I think that's coming to an end right now. So I will probably do the same thing because I do want to see Justified all the way through. I think that was probably one of my favorite TV series, TV in quotes. Just really good across the board. Although I did start watching them and I'm like, I don't know if this aged as well. We'll see. I got to get to the end. I watched the first 2 seasons, I think, and then, Hulu, got to go. So I didn't watch it. I was almost going to watch all of what's the show with the they make the women wear the red outfits. That will come to me. Maybe it won't. I watched the first season of that and I couldn't do it. That is too frustrating. But there are a couple of Hulu series that are good. So I would consider, no, I wouldn't consider saving it. Now Disney just announced they're going to merge the two, I think, except in some places where they're not going to. So who knows? I don't know. I don't really care about Disney content. The Disney Channel. And then Paramount Plus, I can't remember why I still have that. I'm very, but yeah, I was impressed with Apple TV. I watched half the first season of For All Mankind. That seemed interesting, but alternate history is kind of tricky. So I'm like, not really into it. But yeah, Shrinking, excellent. Excellent show. Really much better than I thought it would be. It has that rapid timing. You can tell the characters kind of like each other. They get along, I think. Harrison Ford, though, like I was getting to eventually, he did a really nice job. I think he really showed why he has still been acting, I guess. So yeah, pretty impressive. Pluribus, I'm not sure if I like that show enough to jump back in. Severance season 2 was a bridge too far after what I think season 1 was an excellent, unusual program. So we'll see. But I don't want to spend money on all this crap because it's mostly crap. So maybe I kind of wish they would do, because they do have a la carte, right? You can get Apple TV. I don't want Apple TV for like everything. So maybe a pay-per-view, like buy the show. But then they make that. The prices on those are ridiculous, right? Like, why do I have to spend, like at some point, if you wanted to buy Suits, it was like $20 for a season. I think it was. I enjoyed Suits, but even that got tired. Like the first season of Suits, I think is really good. And then they just sort of monotonically decline in quality. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of getting tired of paying for mediocrity. I can just go see a movie. And slightly more. I did not go and see Project Hail Mary in the theater. I really thought about it, but I'm like, honestly, I read the book. I really enjoyed the book. I heard the movie was really good. So I don't really need to see in IMAX. I think I've kind of gotten over that. I've spoken about this before, so I'll just keep it brief. People who ride e-bikes, electric bikes, and e-scooters. And yeah, I do see those frequently. The bikes I'm seeing half on the street and half on the sidewalk. The scooters are almost 100% on the sidewalk. These are people who, I got to be honest, I'm not going to do it. But boy, howdy, have I been tempted to body check them. Because they come up behind me and then they're like, excuse me. And if I'm feeling it, I'll be like, oh, do you want me to get in the bike lane? Am I in your way? And then they'll give me a look, a finger gesture perhaps, an expletive. It's like, dude, you're on the sidewalk. And unfortunately, this is legal. It's legal, but I think there's a speed limit or a horsepower cap or something. So I'm starting to see some fast, maybe even a little bit heavier bikes on the sidewalk. I think that's going to be a problem. So I don't like it. But I also see people on both the scooters and the bikes. Sometimes if they're in the street, they're moving. They're very fast. So maybe they're smart enough to not be on the sidewalk to injure people, but they don't stop for lights. Because I've seen bicyclists, human-powered bikes. They're like, oh, red light, that means I go. And I've seen that happen. And I've been in the crosswalk for a couple of these. And I'm like, are you insane? Do you have any sensibility whatsoever? So those people could get knocked over. I'd be okay with that. But it's really frustrating because they'll ride at night. They're probably coming home from work or going to work or who knows what. So if it's 9 o'clock at night or something, it's dark, and they'll come sneaking up. I'm listening to an audiobook probably, and I'm on the sidewalk where the pedestrians should be, like me. So I don't really expect to have electric vehicles sneaking up behind me, and then sometimes almost hitting me. One time did hit me, but brushed along the side. So if I had moved at all, if I did not continue, I didn't see this person until the last, I'm like, oh, and they brushed up alongside me. So that could have been bad. Luckily it was not. But yeah, it's going to be a bit much. I'm going to have to figure out some way to draw attention to this. But Vegas is weird. I don't know if I've said those words exactly. It's a weird place when just considering the locals here. People on the strip, tourists visiting here, you're going to get all kinds, right? During the pandemic, they pretty much said, oh, if anybody wants to come here and spend money, come on down. So there was a lot of characters. Somebody took a video of, what do you call it? Like two women got into a fist fight. Production by the street. They got into like a fist fight and then ripping of tank tops and whatnot. So there was a scandalous body part wardrobe malfunction. And I remember posting that photo somewhere, and it got blocked or whatever, community standards. I'm like, this is literally a video that was posted on a news website. So I'm really just linking to, I didn't post the actual video. I posted a link to the video on a local news website, probably Channel 8, but who knows? I don't watch TV, so who cares, right? So they took it down. So I was like, okay. But anyway, so Vegas is a weird place. I literally just did a little rant in Cafe Genius, Impresarios from Friday. By the way, I didn't go over the links. I do it all the time. So hopefully if you have listened to this program before, you're familiar. There's a profile page with links to all of my audio programs. buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo. This audio program is published first on Ko-fi.com/Dan Hugo. So Ko-fi.com, buymeacoffee.com. Both of them have a Dan Hugo, DANHUGO, Dan Hugo profile page. Ko-fi.com really doesn't do anything with that. I'm not selling products or anything, so it's kind of a dead end. But they both enable posting of audio, video, etc. So at some point I said, oh, let me publish some other feeds, and I'll publish them exclusively, because I've had these pages it was 5 years in March when we started podcasting back in pandemic days. So I'm like, oh, let me create Coffee Solo, Buy Me an Update. Buy Me an Update sounds weird if you don't know that it used to be published exclusively on Buy Me a Coffee. So I usually mention that. But either way, back to the topic. Vegas is weird. I just did a rant. It was called Missing Pieces. It's a puzzle of the Las Vegas Strip from kind of a high altitude with pieces missing. And I run down a few things that I think are wrong with Vegas from a business, like a person who lives here trying to be entrepreneurial from that perspective. There's a lot of, bikes on sidewalks. That's one of those things where most of the regulation of that will be on the Strip, maybe downtown. Like, I think you can ride a bicycle on Fremont, but then if you're off Fremont, you might as well not be, you're somewhere else. So they create these rules, laws, ordinances that apply to fairly narrow polygons, like shapes on a map. So like, oh, if you're on the Strip, you can't do this. But if you're if you're on industrial or what's the other side of that? The convention's on Paradise, but there's some other. Anyway, so if you're not on Las Vegas Boulevard and you're not on Fremont, first of all, Las Vegas Boulevard, if you're on the Strip, you're not in Las Vegas, you're in Clark County. But generally speaking, the regulations tend to be written based on like latitude and longitude, which is kind of humorous. There's an application written on ArcGIS for you open data nerds. It's called Am I in Vegas? I think it's called. So you use your phone GPS and am I in Vegas? Nope. You are in unincorporated Clark County. Anyway, so the rules tend to change very quickly. I don't know if anyone paid attention to or considered how up here in the suburban area, I live in the city of Las Vegas, but up north, still in the city limits, in the administrative bounded area. But I don't know if anybody actually went, oh, what about where students are, right? There are hardly any high schools on Las Vegas Boulevard on the Strip. And there's only one historic school anywhere near Fremont, 6th Street. And what's the cross street? It might be, I don't remember what cross street. It's by the Innovation Center. It's by Bank of America building, the historic 6th Street School, which is a City of Las Vegas office building now. But the take home, a lot of stuff happens in those contexts. So it's more rare that people say, oh, what about where normal people are, where there are elementary and high schools more frequently encountered, which means more students are cruising around on their e-bikes and e-scooters without regard to safety of any kind. So, I mean, that's just one example in context of my previous comment. But I really think Vegas would benefit from like a deep dive. We have a hackathon of sorts. If you know what a hackathon is, it's more than that. We have a Smarter Smart City Challenge coming up, 2027. My nonprofit will be facilitating that, Innovate for Vegas Foundation. I really think, for a variety of reasons, Vegas thinks it's a smart city. There was a document created, probably at great expense, by an external consulting agency called Smart City Forward, I think it is. 2018, 19, somewhere in there. I've referred to it many times. Who cares what the title is? It has like a checklist of here's the things we're going to do to make our smart city, make our city a smart city, like municipal Wi-Fi, things like that. So, strangely, they accomplished most of them because they're checkbox projects. So they bare minimum done. There's I want to say it's like My Vegas. A My Vegas application of some sort in your favorite app store. It is absolutely garbage, but it was a project with a checkbox by it, so mission accomplished. So the Smarter Smart City Challenge will aim to have people who live here or who visit here or who are interested take a look at something, try to make it better. That's it. Why would I want to do that? I'm guessing I will hear because people in Vegas tend to say somebody else should fix that. So this is an opportunity to say, well, how about why don't you fix it? Identify the problem, propose a solution, and then consider implementing it. Or propose a path to implementation to your city council or your county commission or whatever. Like, let's enable the people that live here to make the place better, to improve it. Spend some of those brain cells that everybody's like, oh, we're going to be the next Silicon Valley. We're going to be Hollywood 2.0. We're going to be a global innovation hub. Can you point any of those back at ourselves and say, hey, let's make use of modernity here in Vegas. Let's make it easier to get around in public transit. Let's make sure we account for inaccessible roadways, unimproved sidewalks. There's so many cases of that. It's hard to keep track of. So yeah, there's all this stuff that could be, because when you think about it, there are 38 million people in 2025 came to Vegas, visitors, 41 point something, 2024. Yeah. Trying to remember, I think the largest annual visitor count was 2019, maybe. They do a bad job of keeping the same amount of data published year over year. They basically fall back to executive summary data, which I think is annual. So they could do better with that. But anyway, everybody's so wrapped up in tourism numbers, they don't really spend time looking at the whys and wherefores of how things work or don't work. What can we do to make this place better and so on. But I personally think with so many people coming here, Clark County, the entirety of Clark County is about 2.4 million, right? So not quite 20, like what, 17 times as many people that live here come here to visit each year. I just guessed this is 17. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of opportunity to have people that come here to visit try out new things. So like, ooh, Vegas has got a lot of cool stuff going on. Oh, you mean like the Sphere? Oh, yeah, the Sphere, but also it's so easy to catch a bus. It's so easy to get around. It's so easy to find things. I speak other languages and they were there for me at every turn. Because this makes me laugh all the time because it's so dumb. The census for Vegas says that English and Spanish are the top two languages. Tagalog is number 3, Philippines, right? But the census data does not account for visitors. So remember, 2.4 million people live in Clark County, the largest county, the most populous county in Nevada. But again, 17 is a guess. I suppose I could tell you if that's correct. I do have a computer right here in front of me. So 38 million divided by, thank you, correct key, is that right? 2.4 million. Is that right? 38 times? That's not correct. Is that correct? Was I that far off? A factor of 2. Yeah, factor of 2. 38. 38 times. That does not sound right. 38 million. Did I, wait, is that a period? Hang on. Let me, sorry, this is horrible. This is horrible and boring. There we go. I think I had a period or a comma and a period, whatever it was. 38 million divided by 2.4 million is 15.8. That is much better. So 17. Now, the other year is 42. 41.7. We'll say 42. 42, the answer to everything. That was 17 and a half. Okay, so I'll claim that I was close. So we have that many people coming here. You cannot possibly account for all the languages unless you ask people, and there might be a survey of some sort. Because there's a demographic breakdown, so they do figure out where people are visiting from and so on. But you can't be totally sure of that. So I'm like, why? That translating stuff is, that's been done. It's not perfect. Certainly you'll get things wrong. Things will sound hilarious. But there's zero reason to be like, so this really gets to me because if somebody gets on a bus here to get around our fair city, our oasis in the desert, bus drivers they barely speak English, but they might speak Spanish, maybe Tagalog, because those are the people that live here. But I've seen people getting on a bus that I've been on, and they're trying to, they're German, maybe Portuguese, maybe definitely like Japanese, Chinese, Polish one time. I mean, if I actually speak to the people, they kind of speak some broken English. They don't know enough English, though, to ask about a particular landmark, or they'll point at a map. So anyway, they make it very difficult. And I'm like, why would you try to convince people that visit this place, hey, use our transit system, get around, 24-hour bus pass on the Deuce, get everywhere, 24 hours a day, runs all the time. We just can't communicate with you. That is a solved problem. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that. I just think my sentiment research collaboratory is aimed in that direction, right? This is a great place to try out ideas. People want to say that this is a global innovation hub, but in fact, well, there is actual development happening here, but some of the things that are going on here are actually developed in other places, and then they set up like a field office. So like the self-driving car stuff, some of that's going on here. A lot of development is going on in a lot of different places. But if you can deploy your whatever, autonomous vehicle system or drone systems, Nevada was one of the first 6 FAA approved test sites for drones. So drones have been a sort of a component of the road ahead up in the air for most of the time I've been here. So like 12 years, 10 to 12 years. So you don't have to necessarily move your company here, but you can establish a presence here, or you can, like have a field office or something. Come here for the trade shows, interact with the people who are visiting from all over. So when I was in high school, I've told this story before. When I was in high school, I don't know about on here, we had a teacher, Mrs. Fields, Terry Fields, and she was teacher of the year when I was a sophomore in high school. So that was, she was a character. And she had a little bit of self-affirmation now. But she had a really interesting story, which I continue to tell to this day. And I probably have added or change some details, but here's the deal. She was a high school teacher. She was a teacher of whatever grade early in her career. And she was, and in fact still does, as far as I'm aware, but she was also writing teenage romance novels. So in her early career, maybe it was her first one, or she switched to a different publisher or whatever it was. So she told this story. She said, my publisher wanted me to survey my readership to get some sort of demographic data or something like, her target audience was teenage, young adults, probably girls. I'll keep it simple. Whatever the specifics are. They wanted her to conduct some sort of a survey of the demographic that she was targeting with her creative works. Why would you give this to a new author who is also a school teacher, who probably not rolling in dough, right? So I'm picturing her telling this. She's like, I didn't know what to do. And then I thought, wait a minute. So they were in Phoenix. I think she still is with her family. They were in Phoenix. So they drove out to Anaheim. They went to Disneyland. Now, back in the day, I have no idea what Disneyland or Disney World are like today, but way back in the day, right? Probably in the 80s, I assume, 80s or 90s, there'd be huge lines. You'd get the, that was probably in the past days. You'd have a pass for the 2-day pass, whatever. So at least you didn't have to buy the E-tickets and the D-tickets and all that crap. But then you'd be waiting in line. You'd be waiting in line for like an hour. Who knows? She's like, we just wandered around the park and talked to the young adults and their parents. So the parents were standing right there. So you would say, is it okay if I ask some questions? So it's like, we surveyed more than I was supposed to in a few hours for the cost of a ticket to get into Disneyland. And I was like, okay, teacher of the year, you got it. You're good. So I have the same thoughts on Vegas, the Sentiment Research Collaboratory, and in general. And I did a whole podcast episode of Cafe Genius. City as a showcase, right? Instead of trying to make this place into a development tech hub, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. So instead of saying, oh, we're going to be the next Silicon Valley, no, lean into the fun economy, trademark UNLV Office of Economic Development, granted February of 2025. Lean into that, right? Make this the place that people come to have hackathons and innovation sprints, to show off their products, to engage with people at trade shows. I have a whole plan about making a new South by Southwest that is not corrupted like South by Southwest is. Like, turn this into a place where people continue to come and visit, but for more different reasons, right? So the gaming revenue can still that'll fluctuate a little bit. But the convention part of the Convention and Visitors Authority could say, hey, some of the conventions could be working conventions. Your workforce might be spread around the country, around the world. Bring your team together for a week or two in Vegas. They can bring their families, take advantage of the variety of entertainment options here. Do your thing for 2 weeks, go back home. The nice thing about that, if you have a company move and their employees move here, now you have people gentrifying the place, raising the cost of living, raising rents, property values on it. Now, on the one hand, yay, if I'm a homeowner. But if you're working here and you're enabling the fun economy, suddenly you're priced out. That happened during the pandemic. Rents went up 25 to 40%. There was a general malaise. So, and I was in Silicon Valley. I moved there in 1993, and prices of everything just sort of continued to climb forever. Because that was Silicon Valley. So if you make Vegas the next Silicon Valley, which that's not going to happen, you have to contend with the fact that the people that are making minimum wage with tips, plus tips here, and minimum wage is not, it's not unreasonable. It's not like they're making below minimum wage as you can in Arizona. Oh, you're a tipped employee? $2 an hour. Ridiculous. Although I'm not a fan of minimum wage. I'm not a fan of tips, but that's a different thing. Generally speaking, though, if you gentrify Vegas, and you can read about this gentrification impact on Austin. And I'm going to tell you what the name of that book is. Austin book. Lost in Austin. Lost in Austin. The Evolution of an American City by Alex Hannaford. I read the book. A friend of mine went to UT Austin. He grew up in Lubbock, so he was he was around for some of Austin. The Keep It Weird stuff faded away and it became like the other Silicon Valley, the Nerd Bird, all that. I'm like, you're gonna destroy Silicon Valley. I'm sorry, you're gonna destroy Vegas if you make it the next Silicon Valley, and you're not gonna make it the next Silicon Valley. So in so doing, you're going to cause real damage to the economy, certainly to the workforce that is the fun economy. So there's some interesting things going on here in that regard. But anyway, I think there's a lack of coherence here. Sorry, my voice is absolutely committing mutiny. I've had to pause it a couple times. Coherence and cohesion here is a little questionable. I've done episodes on that too. You can check out, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, you'll find a link to where to find the Cafe Genius Impresario's audio program, and you'll find all of that. So yeah, I'm heavily opinionated on how the economic diversification efforts are moving along or not. Some of the disconnects between the local press and the innovation notion that I think is sort of broken. The LinkedIn is kind of broken. Speaking of LinkedIn, I'll move it along so we can wrap up today's episode before my voice totally caves in on me. I have 983 followers. Drop in the bucket. I know. Of the Innovate for Vegas Foundation LinkedIn page, I get zero engagement. So it doesn't matter if I have 983. At this point, I treat it as, hey, if you follow the page, at least you'll know it exists, and then we'll never engage with you again. You're never going to like, share, tell somebody else. You're never going to show up to a hackathon. You're never going to ask a question. You're never going to you're never going to react. So nobody ever does those things. So and then if you look at some of the analytics, like, ooh, this had 20 impressions. You're like, oh, if you pay, you'll get 58,000 impressions. I don't need 58,000 impressions. I need the 983 people who follow this page to see it. So I'm done with LinkedIn. I've been a member of LinkedIn since August of 2020. When is it? No, 2003. Is that what it is? I think it launched in 2003, May of 2003. And I've been a member since August. We can check that real quick. I'm telling you, this internet thing, even without AI, it's fine. LinkedIn launch. If I could type. Okay. LinkedIn launch date. I literally typed type. Yeah, May 5th, 2003. And I think I joined August 11th. Yeah, I've had enough. It is continuing. I believe it was a woman, but somebody posted on LinkedIn, X has founders, Reddit has bots. What does LinkedIn have? And I literally typed my response, a comment. I said selfies. And then I was like, nah, I don't really care. I don't want to stir up trouble. I want to find the exit and leave LinkedIn. But in the meantime, I'm thinking about doing LinkedIn newsletters for Cafe Genius, Smart City Vegas, which is where we're sort of trying to get the word out about the Smarter Smart City Challenge. We added City Camp Las Vegas 2026. We're still looking for board members. I can't even get people to answer a damn email. So we're a global innovation hub. Oh, would anyone like to participate in the innovation part? No. Someone else should do that. That's Vegas. So I'm going to write those 3 newsletters and see what happens. I personally want to stop using LinkedIn completely on August. So it'll be my 23rd year. For my 20th year, so in 2023, I basically stopped posting personal things to LinkedIn. So I don't really do a lot of my posting. I will repost things from the pages, but for all practical purposes, I have not posted anything to LinkedIn after I did my Ike Gang EU style exit sign. So it's a human stick figure walking out through a box like a door. So I posted on I think it was the first of the month, every month for 1 year through January. I had the day countdown, or count up. I think it was day 53 of my departure so it hit 365 and the final 3 months were red. The months before that were green. So as we approach the end, and that's the last of my posts. I don't really post on LinkedIn anymore. The pages, I post on the pages. It could be me or we have other media handling people. But yeah, I don't like LinkedIn anymore. It's horrible. And so the newsletters are sort of an admission that like, oh, I guess people do still kind of use it, but I will find out if the people that use it give anything a moment to think about what we're working on. The entire point, I'm drinking that coffee away. The entire point of the Smarter Smart City Challenge, of the City Camp, of Innovate for Vegas, all this stuff is to point some of the innovation, some of the energy behind that back into our locality to make it better, right? Now, when I was in Silicon Valley for 13 years total, I think. So I've been here the same, is that true? 93 to 2001 is 8 years. 2005 to 2013 is also 8 years. Oh, 16 years. Okay. That's right. So I was in Silicon Valley for a total of 16 years with a little break in the middle. And I've been in Vegas for 13 years. Okay. That sounds better. So it's 15 times longer. No, so the 17. So I spent all that time in Silicon Valley, and it was always very exciting to think about making new cool things and changing the world. I didn't really like the move fast and break things idea, but working on the internet, on the browser. I worked at Netscape. I worked at Apple in the Newton Group. So yeah, we're working on cool new stuff, right? But I really didn't spend, there was a moment in my second tour of duty in Silicon Valley where I took the Leadership Sunnyvale program. They have a Leadership Las Vegas. There's probably one near you. So I learned all about how a city functions. I learned a lot about how Sunnyvale in particular functions. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, then so one of the classes, one of the days in the program, we worked for Sunnyvale Community Services, and we learned a startling fact that like at least 1/3 of the city of Sunnyvale population was on some sort of assistance. Like, whoa, that's crazy, because it was just getting more and more expensive. So the person that ran it, I can't remember her name. It's Nancy something. I don't even know if she's still around, like alive. Seemed like a really nice lady, very motivated and all that stuff. So she taught us, she showed us the whole day, here's what it means to not have money to go to Safeway. So you can come here. So they had shelves like a grocery store, and they were backed by United Way and some other charities. And you could sign up for Sunnyvale Community Service Assistance, and then you could just come there and get some food. They would help you out with like emergency medical, bridge between insurance and deductibles. It was very nice. So when we did we were supposed to do something as a class, our Leadership Sunnyvale class. So at the end, we said, hey, how about if we do some sort of a fundraiser and make a donation to Sunnyvale Community Services? So we worked at a concession booth at, who was playing there? Might have been a Grateful Dead concert at the Shoreline Amphitheater. So we were there for like all day. It might have been 2 days. It was a lot of work. If you've ever worked at a concession stand at a musical event like that, which I had actually done, and I've also worked in food trucks and all that stuff. So, but it was pretty chaotic but it was fun, and we made a lot of money, and we gave it to Sunnyvale Community Services. So, and I'm not saying that people in Vegas don't volunteer. There are nonprofits here. There are nice people that try to do good things and try to help other people and so on. Not suggesting there isn't. But what I am suggesting is that I don't know that people look in their own backyard for ideas to innovate around and to make our smart city smarter, which I think is a loss, because again, we have 38 million to 42 million people coming here. Like, if you develop a product, you really could just sit on the strip and say, hey, you want to try out want to install this app? Which is what Sentiment Research Collaboratory is about. That's my other thing. So yeah, I think there's just a lack of coherence and cohesion here. So is that an opportunity? I'm not sure. Is that a thorn in the side? Absolutely. So I think I'm going to end on this one. I paused, got a couple more drops of coffee in my cup here. I've said this before, I usually either prepare very minimally, or I'll write out entire passages that I don't want to forget, like how I want to make a point or something. So here, I didn't even really read the first point about the Phantom Menace. I had 3 sentences, but I didn't really stick to that. And then I just literally have one line. As I've mentioned before, I'm trying to kind of get better at, it's kind of like improv, but I want to be able to think a little bit more in situation, in situ, instead of pre-writing scripts, because I do want to start doing some live streaming with people here in the greater Vegas area. Is it going to be greater? I don't know. But the final, I do literally write anything else as the final bullet item, but we're gonna wrap it up before that. So the second to last final item, open mic. I like it a lot, but I do not love it. Should I do it again? So I enjoy the creativity. I enjoy getting a laugh. I'm still on the fence as to whether I'm a comic or a comedian. A comic says funny things. A comedian says things funny. I believe that is the way that goes. We can look that up, and then I'll try to describe what I believe that means. Comic versus comedian. The AI overview. I can't remember who said that. Yeah, comedian says things funny. Comic writes jokes that are funny. So a comic, typically a stand-up performer who relies heavily on direct material, jokes, and punchlines. A comedian is a broader, more professional title that includes stand-ups as well as comedic actors, sketch performers, and improv artists who rely on characters and delivery. So, like, I would say Mike Birbiglia is more of a comedian because he relies on story, timing, intonation when he's telling the joke, and so on. Whereas, and I think he's very talented, super talented, but Anthony Jeselnik is more of a comic. Like, he does one-liners, he does setup, punchline, some sort of timing, attitude, facial expression, whatever, and then on to the next one. So he may be a comedian also, but his stand-up routine, I believe, would be comic. Whereas George Carlin was a comedian, right? He was very philosophical. He had things he wanted to say. Not everything was funny. Some of it was more impactful, observational. So I would like to be a comedian if I was going to do stand-up, if I was going to get up in front of people and try to make a point and maybe get a laugh in there somewhere, make it humorous, but also insightful. My open mic experiences are more, because you get 3 minutes at Wise Guys. I have a friend here, Just Alex. He is much more accomplished. He does actual road travel. He's considered a professional comedian, maybe a professional comic. I mean, he's very smart, but I think he does more joke, punchline. But either way, he used to have an open mic. It was 5 minutes. 5 minutes is hard to fill if you're trying to write jokes and you're not a real, like, experienced comic or comedian. Like, filling 5 minutes with good material, that takes actual work. But because I don't really want to just be writing jokes, I would like to write something more interesting that happens to be funny, says things funny, right? I'm trying to think of some example I could give here. Like my opener, when I first got started, when I did a 5 minute for my friend there, for his he hosted an open mic at a place called The Dive by UNLV, and I have a little burr on my thumbnail. So my opener was, so I'm, despite what you may think, I am Catholic. I was baptized. I'm not really practicing. That's usually gets some sort of a laugh, and it's like, what? You can't be a non-practicing Catholic. Like, okay, well, this is my joke. So I'm sort of a Catholic, and at one time I was dating a Turkish woman who was Muslim. So we decided, this is a true story. We literally said, if we ever have kids, maybe we should raise them Jewish, and then we'll just blame everything on them. So I used that to judge the crowd. They would either laugh or go like, huh? It's not meant to be anti anything. It's literally a commentary on the state of the world, right? But I really did have that conversation, and we really did make that joke to each other. So that was a true story. That wasn't a joke that I wrote. That was an actual thing that really happened, but it comes across as funny. Those are fun. I have another bit about, I had a next door neighbor where I live right now. She had an OnlyFans page, and she had other profiles. So she was working. She was even working from home. I never heard anything, but at some point I saw one of her videos. Not my cup of tea, to be honest. But so I had a whole bit about because so there was a person here in Vegas who was, he gets on my nerves. I've avoided talking to him for 2 years. But when we discovered that on his LinkedIn profile, he listed Ebonics, the ability to speak Ebonics as one of his skills. My next door neighbor happened to be a black woman, so she was really cute in person, but just not appealing in just a different kind of video content that was just, oh, no way. But in person, she was always very angry, but long story, she's gone. She moved away. But the bit that I wrote was, there's this guy, speaks Ebonics, then my next door neighbor, she has an OnlyFans page, and she's got a profile on some other adult websites, whatnot. And I listed some of her skills that I will not say here to try to keep it clean. And I was like, I only got JavaScript and SQL on my resume. I gotta start adding some things because she seems to be working every day. And I can't remember exactly how I wrote it, but I actually got some pretty good laughs out of that. People thought that was really funny. And so there were a few things like that. So I didn't write those jokes. I was just telling stories, things that really happened. So I think that's much more fun. And I think I've heard that that's basically the way to do it is you tell real stories about yourself. You're not punching down on people. Like I was actually complimentary to my neighbor because she was, like I said, she was cute and she was nice a couple of times and her dog loved me. Her dog would always freak out whenever I start jumping up and down and like not barking at me, but more like, woof, woof, like, hey, look, dance here kind of thing. When I was coming down the hallway or something. So yeah, the joke was literally about the profiles, not the people. And then I needed to modify my profile. My joke with the Muslim, Catholic, Jewish thing was more about the world, the state of affairs of humanity and society, not about any particular religion. So yeah, those are fun. However, I don't know that I'm talented or probably experienced enough. And I don't really spend the time because it turns out I like it. I like doing it. I like getting up on stage and crafting a series of stories that seem to fit together, coming up right on time. I looked over at the clock one time. I was like, whoa, it's almost over already. 3 minutes goes by very quickly. So, but I was able to fit things in. So I was aware of the time. I made use of the time. That was not true in the 5-minute thing. That was a mess. So I've been able to improve a little bit. But the take home is I don't love it. I don't find myself saying, oh, I got to go every week. I got to find some other open mics. So I treat it more as like, I don't mean to diminish the efforts of others who are working through and trying to get professional stage time and all that. But it's more like stretching to me. Like the ability to speak in front of people is a skill you should always be aware of and tune up. But it's not something I don't want to be a traveling comedian, turns out. So yeah, I don't love it. So the question is, should I do it again? I went and saw Tina Frimmel. I think it was in January. I think it was in January. She was super hilarious, very talented, super talented. It was one night only. I sat in the front row. She asked me if I could fix her computer, and I said, absolutely. She tried to call me a geek, and I said, I'm more of a nerd, I think. But anyway, she was very talented, very funny, great show. And then I think it was like a week or two later, I did some open mics. So it's been, I don't mean February of 2026. I mean like a year ago. Yeah, I don't know if it was February 2025, but it was a while ago. So it's been a while. Should I go again? Probably. I probably should do it. I feel like I need to accomplish a couple of things on my to-do list before I start venturing out into the fun zone to take part in the fun economy. Trademark. So we'll see. We will see. Okay. I think that we're... anything else? No. I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. I think I don't advertise this show at all, and I don't think I get a lot of traffic, but I think it would be interesting if part of my thing that I'm working on, not working on it hard enough, is to surface, right, make discoverable more local content creators of any kind, audio, podcast, video, Could be the people that walk up and down the street and review brunch spots and here's the latest whatever. Here are the best hotels for 20, whatever it is. That kind of stuff. There are other local content creators that do some other things. Miles to Memories kind of does a little news thing 3 times a week. So there's a whole variety of people. You kind of get lost in the shuffle on YouTube. So I would like to surface that stuff, including me, as kind of a, when you're in Vegas, here are people that are talking about things in Vegas, people that are here in Vegas. You can learn more about them and what's going on and their reviews and their takes. Now, is everyone in Vegas fascinating? Maybe. Probably not. But the fact is, I don't know that there is a geographically focused search engine or showcase. So, and not every YouTuber, not every podcast would be, first of all, they could certainly say, hey, I don't want to be on your site. I don't want to be in there. And by the way, this is the In Las Vegas platform that should already have been launched. So that's me again. But yeah, I think just the ability to group things by, oh, this is people who talk about Vegas. These are people who live in Vegas. The Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program is not interesting to everyone visiting Vegas, but it might be interesting to people who come here for trade shows, CES, NAB, people in other similar organizations in other places, whatever. I mean, it's part of the experiment. But anyway, so getting people to discover your podcast, your audio program in the modern age is, of course, there's like what, 4 million, 10 million, 100 million, who knows? So yeah, I just kind of let it float around and see what happens. For some reason, a lot of people listen to Quaggling Sand. I would not have guessed that. So for what it's worth. That's why I try to cross promote all my shows. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to call it for tonight. It's not quite midnight yet. So technically this show was produced on March 22nd. May 22nd, 2026, before midnight. It was done. So for what it's worth, thanks for listening. Thanks for tolerating my voice. You can hear it's on its last legs. And then we'll catch you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.